The Extreme BPM, that is Tuesdays and Fridays. 8 p.m. East African time, that's when we get to talk to people that make the music. But I always implore you to check out the Ages Make Show, 1 to 2 p.m. East African time. That's when we play more of the music. And then Saturdays, 11 to 1, we have the Spot radio show where we get to play music from the musicians you get to listen to during the week on the Ages Make Show. So Tuesdays and Fridays is when we do this, where we get to talk to the people that make that music, and we get to listen to some of the stories behind the songs we play, and much more. So we've had my guest today on the show has been on the show before, and that was a few, I don't want to say a few years ago, but a while ago. All right, we've had her on the show, and she did play for us some songs on the show too, and which was a good time. And she's back on the show. She has a brand new album, Shadows and Lines and Shadows.
Shadows and Lines.
Shadows and Lines.
Shadows and Lines.
Look at me now. Okay. So
no, I know. We've had Mark. You and I have had a tough couple of days, but we are strong.
Yes. So the brand new album is called Shadows and Lines, and she also has another project that she was part of, which is Major Camille, and we shall talk about that too. But Camille Miller is on the show today. Welcome to the show, Camille Miller. How are you doing?
I'm much better now, and I feel much closer to you because we've spent a lot of time in the last couple of days fighting the technical difficulties.
Yeah,
but we have overcome.
Absolutely, that's why we are so clear now. Anyone can hear us right now, so which is a good thing. Finally, we conquered. We didn't give up.
Yes.
So we talked the last time we talked. We were. That time you're putting out a few singles, nobody's listening, and I remember we were talking about that. But then this year, towards the end of last year, I received a brand new single from you, which is Nest, and actually it just played on the Sport Radio show earlier on. In case you're listening, this guys, we're recording this on a Saturday, so it played on the Sport Radio show earlier on. And what is ironic is that I was just monitoring to see what is playing. And then I had a few songs, then I hear Nest playing, and I'm like, oh, interesting. We are having a conversation on the show.
That's cool. It's meant to be.
Yeah. So we played Nest, which is part of your album. But before we get into that, there's a project you worked on, which is Major Camille. So can you talk to us about that and how the initiation of that project was?
Absolutely. So let me start with Major Camille because that happened during the pandemic, near sort of the middle of the pandemic to the end. It's an 11-track electro pop album.
Yes.
And it was recorded during lockdown, all online, with 3 people that were initially involved with the album. It's Dennis Expert, who is the producer of the album and wrote the music, and Dan Burkhart, who is the engineer, mixed, mastered, helped produced as well. He did that part of the album. And then myself, I lent some writing skills. So I wrote some lyrics and I sang 10 of the 11 tracks. The 11th and most awesome track is sung by the amazing Sarah J. Hawley of Massive Attack. So she co-wrote a song called Wild Bow. And I, along with Dennis Expert and Dan Burkhart, co-wrote the rest together. So it was an absolute collective. This project, Major Camille, is a French collective out of Bordeaux. It's created by Dennis Expert, and he also has sort of like a mother collective called Dame de Huit. So it's DAMDE8. I was calling them Dame de 8 for the longest time before I realized he was French. So, and it's truly a collective. There's over 30 people involved, be it musicians, writers, film producers, videographers, costume designers. There's a logo, a puppet head that's kind of similar to David Bowie. That was created by a puppeteer, a very famous French puppeteer. And this album by Major Camille is in tribute to and in the style of David Bowie. So the idea was to write to create a whole album in the style of and in tribute to David Bowie without ever mentioning his name. So we did that. On the album are two covers of David Bowie, which are really, really cool covers. They're done in quite a different way. So there's Modern Love and Better Future are two of the David Bowie covers, but the rest are all original compositions. And it's just a really cool project. I mean, you can imagine 30 different people involved. It's pretty creative. And I'm very proud of the sound of the album and the songs and the work that was put in. At the moment, I'm not involved with the showcases. They're sort of trying to cultivate that in Paris, closer where everybody is, which makes sense. But anybody who's interested in this kind of music, in this electro pop music, can find them on Spotify and iTunes. And if they are interested in vinyl, in fact,
Vinyl. Vinyl is back on the market now. Everybody's making vinyl now.
oh, everybody's making. I have two vinyl records, and I'm about to have a third. So anybody that's interested in contacting Dennis Expert, they can contact Major Cami and find out about this album at contact@majorcami.com. Very simple. And he would be able to explain, any questions that people might have. And I've given you two tracks that I love,
Yes.
that are kind of my favorite ones that I was involved with. So on the album as well, there's a few songs that Dennis Expert wrote the lyrics initially in French and then had them translated to English. And then my job to help him in that situation would be to read the translated English and see if it makes sense in English. So I would sort of tweak a few words here and there to make it flow. So there's a couple of songs that were done like that. And then there's a song or two, and I really liked this style. He would send me a music track, and he doesn't speak English at all. So he would sing pretend words, which he calls singing in yogurt in French. It's translated, that's what it is in English, but it means just pretend words. So he would be like, and then my job is to make English words in a story that sound like that.
Oh.
So it was such a great writing experience for me because it was completely different, out of my league, out of my normal style. And I also had to sing quite differently. I had to sing very low, using it's a very androgynous sounding vocal, which was also on purpose, just to have the gender fluidity, which is a major important part of it. And I really enjoyed the challenge. So I'm proud of the music, and that's.
So the interesting part is he made you part of the project for almost all the songs, right?
Yeah.
What was it that did he ever tell you what it was that attracted him to even proposing this idea to you? Because if there are 11 songs and he has probably 10 songs that you are on, and then only Sarah J has one song.
Well, I mean, if I'm using my own little bit of English sense of humor, I might be the only one that said yes. I don't know. So, I mean, at first I was wondering why he would contact me, because he had, I think Sarah wasn't able to do more. I think if I read his bio and what he's said, is that he did try many different people, but they just didn't work out. And however, I don't know how it worked out, but the three of us managed to communicate really well through email. And I recorded all my vocals in my bedroom in Singapore and then sent them to Dan and Dennis. And they would go through everything I've sung. And then he would send me back notes saying, I like this, I don't like this, do it more like this, try this. Then I would do that, send it, and then Dan would mix it. So we never spoke to each other. We didn't see each other. It was all just done by communicating through emails and then listening to the end product and seeing what an amazing product I wouldn't say product, an amazing piece of art that was created. And I was always given lots of guidelines as to what the song should be about, which I appreciated. So Dennis is a writer and a visionary, and he would write me pages of pages translated from French into English about what he thought a song could be about. And then I would just go through and pick out little bits and create the song. So it was a very interesting style for me to experiment with.
So, for anyone listening in, if you don't understand Canadian, that's the translation for "I was the only one that can deliver because I'm amazing at this." Okay.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy I got to do it. Yeah. It was a once in a lifetime, and I'm proud of the end product. So, and funnily enough, and I told this story to Dennis too. I received a message from him on Instagram. And I usually don't accept any messages from people I don't know. So I don't know how. And I think the only reason why I responded to him is because when I clicked on his profile, he was mutual acquaintances with you.
Yeah.
And I had recently just done an interview with you.
Yeah.
That was what it was. So I thought, well, if he knows Mark, or he's sent stuff to Mark, it's got to be okay.
So, Dennis, I should be somewhere in the credits. I'm kidding. But
yeah, exactly. We got to put you in the credits. But yeah, and one final thing about this project, which is really exciting, is over the time that the album's been out, he's sent in a few songs to the International Song Competition, which is a really big competition, a notable competition, and we are in the finals for a song called Burns in the Barns, which is a song that's written about the mental illness of David Bowie's stepbrother. Like the themes of these songs are like super complicated and dramatic, and it's quite cool. So we're a finalist with the video. The video is very cool. Again, this is another person that's contributed to the collective. I believe he's an artist in Thailand. And Dennis may have got a hold of him through, however, could be Fiverr or like some kind of company. And together they worked and created this beautiful video, and it's all hand drawn and it's in cartoon and it's very cool. So again, even if we just make it to the finalists, that's pretty amazing.
That's pretty amazing already that it's being considered even in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a true artistic project, which nowadays I think in music that often it's more difficult to be in a truly artistic project. It's complicated. It has its ups and downs, but the art is so much more intense and detailed. So that in the end is a win.
Or I think in the first place when there's even conversation about it, especially if it's a project that is kind of like honoring someone that was as great as Bowie was, and but you are like even the idea of trying to attach yourself to a project that is honoring that, there's already pressure on that, because then you have to somehow deliver. And I guess and
we had a lot of hurdles. We had to go through to get permissions to have the songs on the album, and we had some ups and downs with that, but there's a lot of really important Bowie fans that like the project, if that makes sense. So sort of collectors of Bowie work, artists that are quite well known for celebrating him, they're all very interested in the Major Cammy project, and I think mainly because it's a beautiful sounding album, really smart, interesting songs, but it's crazy, and it's hectic, so people find that's interesting.
So the two songs that you talked about that were your favorites, that is
so Scandal is one song, and the other one is Smuggled in the Strange.
Smuggled in the Strange, yes. Scandal with a K.
One last little bit about that, and then I want to talk about other things. But so something that David Bowie was famous for was a style of writing called cut and paste. And what he would do is he would take a text And he would highlight lines that he thought were interesting, and he would cut them out, put them on a large table, move them all around to create the story of his song, or to create it. And so Dennis asked me to consider writing a song in this style. So I spent ages, and I copy and pasted every single review I could ever find on David Bowie in like Rolling Stone, everything. And I printed it all out. So I had a stack of reviews from the late 60s, to up to Black Star. And we were living in Singapore, so I sat by the pool and highlighted the coolest lines that I could find. And one of the lines was, David Bowie knows just how much sugar it takes to smuggle in the strange. So smuggle in the strange is one line in there.
Yeah.
And so every single line in that song is from a review. And I've just taken it, and I took it and put it on the table and lined it up and tried to make it. And it had to just flow, basically. It didn't have to make so much sense, but it had to flow. And so I was really happy to do that. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of work to get into, because you have to check out all the most of the reviews that have been written about him, and then take out certain pieces of every review and then put it together to make an entire complete
and
song.
A story.
Yeah.
So and I had a lot. So I mean, obviously, so Dennis's job, when I first send my first take or second take, he's like, "Okay, Camille, all right, let's just cut out all of this, all of this, and then repeat this part, and this part's cool." And so I thought it was a neat. This album wouldn't have come out unless it was a collective. So that's why I'm glad I had to have the chance to do that.
So that is Major Camille.
Major
with
Camille.
a K. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's called Major Camille, and then you're Camille Miller.
Long story, but yes, we came up with that name. So when I was a kid, I used to always write Cammy as my name, but it is a long story. I mean, Major Cammy fans can find out the story, but in the end, there was even a vote because I wanted Red Cammy, or I wanted something else. But this Major Cammy allows for Major Cammy to be anyone. So the idea of the group of Major Cammy is that if they were going to put a show on, they would have a Major Cammy in Paris. They would have a Major Cammy in Lisbon. They would have a Major Cammy always playing the role and singing the song. So it needs to be, it shouldn't be me. It has to be, it can be anyone.
Oh.
And so this name and this project opens it up for many different people it could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is amazing. So that's the project, Major Camille. Go check that out, the entire album. There are about 11 songs on there. Shout out to Sarah J, who's also on the other song.
Yeah.
And you did 10, so that's interesting. So Major Camille, that's a project. Go check it out. But you decided to work on an entire album.
Yes. So the last time I had released an album prior to the 3 singles was 2019. I released a 5-song EP called Cover Me. And I had originally recorded that in the US. And then when I moved to Singapore, I released that EP, shot a video in Singapore, really, really, really cool video. And then shortly after that, I did those three singles. It was over a year I worked on the album for Major Camille. And then it took a while for it to come out as well. So after that was done, we left Singapore and moved to Lisbon. And by the time we got to Lisbon, I had been building up all these songs. And I talked to my husband and said, are you prepared for me to go ahead and do another album? Because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of logistics. And he was like, yes. I showed him some of the songs. I had the demos, and he's like, yes, let's do it. So Shadows and Lines was recorded in Warsaw, Poland. January 2024 is when I started the recording. And I have a massively long connection with Warsaw, which I love. So So prior to getting married, from 1999 till 2009, I was in a cover band in Canada
Yeah.
called Love Shack. And we were a corporate cover band.
We talked about this on the last
Yes,
interview.
yeah. So I was like, Love Shack,
Yeah.
baby, Love Shack. And I had the hair and the tights and the dresses, and we went all over the world playing in that cover band. So we not only worked at home in Canada in really dodgy pubs, but we played in the Middle East for quite a long time, which is how I funded my first 3 albums from doing that. And we played 2 or 3 times a year in Poland. So I met my husband in Poland, and the drummer who played with us in Poland is the drummer that recorded this album. And he's also from Canada, where I'm from. So we grew up on the same place.
Yes.
So over the years, I've done some singles with him, but it was so great to be able to fly over from Lisbon, fly over to Warsaw, and create an album. And we could only do that because we're so close there now, right? It was a very quick, it's an hour flight and it's like 200 euros. So.
Yeah. But it's interesting though, with all these places you've been to, because we had talked about this, how you've been to at the moment now it's more than 10 countries now?
Yeah, well, 9 countries, but like 10 moves.
Yeah.
10 international moves, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you manage to bring in all these influences you meet, because cultures are different in all these places that you go to, and especially the ones where you actually live in for quite a while, and you still have to keep creating and keep that going. How are you able to deal with all that influence that comes from all these places?
Well, when I was in Brazil, so I have to pull out a vinyl here.
Yeah.
This album, Fight or Flight, is a massive, so that's a full 11-song album, all recorded in Brazil, all with Brazilian musicians. In the end, they do something called a batuque, which is all the drummers get together and they do like this drum circle. And everybody's a percussionist and a drummer, all the musicians. So everyone that was playing bass, guitars, keys, whatever, they all are on the drum at the end, and they do this incredible drum circle, and it's on the album. The producer of this album, Caetano Malta, now lives in Paris. And the cool thing about that is when we first arrived in Lisbon, he came over, he was over here, and him and his wife, and he hooked me up with all the musicians that I'm now working with here. He said, call this person, tell them that you made the album with me. So then I call people and say, I'm friends with Caetano. So I really keep in touch with all the musicians that I worked with all over the world. And I figure, because I'm not young anymore, if we keep doing this, keep getting older, keep getting better, eventually I'm going to play with them again.
I thought you were in your mid-30s. Why are you going far away?
Yeah. You're good. You're so good.
Actually, early 30s. Okay.
Early 30s. I'll take it. I'll take mid-30s. I'll take late 30s. I'll take mid-40s.
Early 30s is where we are.
But all these influences, and even the guys that when I did my 5-song EP in the US, the American drummer, keyboard player, American bass player, Canadian guitarist, real blues rock North American style. You can hear that on that EP. Each album, you can hear the influences of the people that I've been working with, and they're considered part of my band, which I call the Guilty Birds. So whenever I play, it's always Camille Miller and the Guilty Birds. And these people make up from all different countries, cultures, languages. They all help me, create these tunes.
Yeah, and it's amazing because much as you have culture from all these different places, at least what keeps the essence of how you make music still keeps in there. It's just that it merges with these other cultures. Because when you listen to an album, even I went back when you were streaming, when you told me that you had an album you put out in '94.
Yes, yeah.
I went back and listened to that, and I still listen to the new stuff, and I'm like, yeah, you can change the influences and the music and how you try and bring cultures together, but there's still an essence of who you are, and it still goes through all the songs.
Oh, that's nice that you can hear that. I appreciate that, because sometimes I feel like, well, lots of over the years I've had good reviews and bad reviews, and the most common bad review is that um, I'm not in a genre. I'm not you can't define the genre. I don't fit into any genre. And that used to really bother me. I was never rock enough to be in the rock concerts. Back in Canada, I'm not into, nobody will let me play in the blues concerts because they say I'm not blues enough, but I'm like the biggest blues singer that there is. And it's like I'm not pop because I'm too old for pop. I'm not, so it's always been sort of tough. But as long as I keep making the albums with such great musicians and it's really good recordings and sounding and songs, then I figured that's the genre. That's just that's my own genre.
Everything changed though, because there's no way. I think that goes for people who are like very specific. I want this in this genre. That's what that's what my platform plays or something like that. I think that is more of an older way of doing things, which is funny.
Yeah.
Because even right now, if you say, okay, R&B, what is R&B today?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
totry different.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Like-
That's a good point. And especially living in Europe, I feel that less like the European culture, and also working with Major Camille, Dennis was always like, age is not like the older you get, the more interesting you are. So the French look at it very differently. And I
Yeah.
really love that about the French culture. European culture as well. All the musicians that I'm working with now, they're seasoned and they're good. So
Yeah, I feel like genre is just something, an excuse people use to try and box something in, but you won't succeed because even when you say, let's say, hip hop, what is it now? People are singing melodic rap, and then you're like, okay, so is this R&B? Is this hip hop? But then they say it's rap, and they put it in that category. And then R&B, the R&B people are actually rapping on their verses, and now it's like, okay, so what is it? Is it rap or R&B? Then you go to pop. Pop is like anything that crosses over. Now, when you look at what is popular right now in pop, is when there is a little bit of sprinkling of some Afro beats, then they're like, oh, that's pop now. You're like, what is it now? So it's like, that's why I don't really care about genres and stuff like that. It's more like, how does the song sound? Do you like the song? And when I'm listening in, mostly, the reason why I say it's always like, the music might change, but the writing and how you deliver there's always something that reminds you of something that you've heard before from your catalog.
Ah, that's cool. That means that I've got a style.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. There's a style.
Yeah.
The cool working with Hangi Tavakoli on those 3 singles, Iranian producer that was living in Singapore. That was a really cool experience for me again, because that was totally different. He gave me beats and, synths, and I'd never worked with that. So, but then I got to write the lyrics and do the choruses. So I would have my own little Camille styles of that. But combining those things together was also another wonderful learning curve for me.
So we talked about that. We talked about the influences and all that. So with Shadows and Lines, there are a few songs I want to ask you about. So
okay,
we've been playing Nest. So that one, we've been playing that on the show, and it was one of the first singles you put out, and so we've had that on the show. Now,
thank you very much.
Yep. So talk to me about Leave It Alone. How you started the album? You started the album off on an interesting note.
Yes. Okay. So this song, I like to write songs when I'm frustrated or angry or really happy or really sad. The extreme emotions is when I do my best, my most fluid writing. So when I'm feeling happy all the time, it's hard for me to really to write songs sometimes. But this song in my mind is about a relationship where the other person was constantly telling me what to do all the time, and it was very frustrating. So that's basically the Leave It Alone. Basically the song is about realizing that the person that's trying to control or be in a controlling aspect doesn't necessarily know any better. And the best thing to do is to just walk away and leave it alone. Don't just let it go. Leave it alone. And by learning to do that, because that's one advantage of being in my 50s is
come on.
I don't have time. Oh, in my 30s.
We already
in my
agreed
30s.
on
this. That's one advantage of being in my my late 30s is that I don't have time to do that. I've got my family, and they take up my heart and my mind, and any other relationship that, and everybody goes through this, whether it could be a work relationship or a friend or a family member or something, right? It's a relatable topic. And sometimes it's the thing that I loved about doing this song that made me really excited was the good cop, bad cop, Dorothy and the lion, the yellow brick road leads you to the wizard hiding. Because I had this vision of when somebody plays good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking of Dorothy and the lion. Dorothy, who was all sort of like sweet and innocent, and the lion who was scared and just trying to get the courage. And then when they got to the wizard in the end, they realized that the wizard was just a little tiny person with a megaphone behind a curtain. So the idea that in your life, if you have somebody that seems so powerful and controlling, it could be, again, a work relationship or a school relationship, that person in the end, when you pull away the curtain, is just as lost and confused as you are.
Yeah.
They just have a megaphone.
That's loud.
And then I'm hugely inspired by, like, one of my favorite artists is Sheryl Crow.
Oh,
and
I like
Sheryl Crow put out this album a few years ago, just a couple of years ago. Oh gosh. Now I got to think of what it's called, but she has a whole bunch of different singers on it, like a whole bunch of different, from country to R&B to rap. And it's just the heaviest album. And she has this one song in it where it has real like da 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 da, like real sing-songy chorus in the background. And that was my feeling when I did that song.
I love Sheryl Crow though, especially when years later when she talked about how she was involved in working with Michael Jackson, how she did backups on Billie Jean, I think, and people think it's Michael Jackson, yet it's her doing the backups because she said he was too lazy.
She's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and an amazing story too. I think her career blew up in her late 20s. Like, she was always behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
And
she was a teacher. She was a teacher, right?
Yeah.
And she was a backup singer.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about her is that, there's many things I like about her. I like that she's a musician, she's a writer, she's a singer. She has the image that she, has to sort of upkeep. She runs a band. She's a true musician, and she works with the greatest, and she works with the old school, country scene guys. She works with the young people. She works with everybody, and she's well respected. And those are the kind of idols I have for musicians. Bonnie Raitt, women that have been, women and men that have just started out, and just keep going and just get better as they get older. And that's what I look up to. And Lucinda Williams is another incredible writer, incredible performer. Not all this stuff is not necessarily my style, but it's people that I respect and try to hope I can be like when I grow up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to listen to Sheryl Crow, one of the best interviews I think is one she did with Howard Stern. That she gets into the whole entire story of,
Wow,
very
cool.
Very amazing story. Yeah. So so there's that. So we talked about Leave It Alone, and Leave It Alone reminded me of a friend who I've had on the show. She's interesting. She is a bit crazy too sometimes. She went and had an exchange with the husband and then put that on her stories. And yeah, so when you said controlling, he was trying to tell her like, hey, put on the humidifier so that the molds don't come up, since the kid was playing and poured water in
Yeah.
And then she said, I already cleaned it up, no molds. He's like, just put it on. She was like, you want me to do something else? Why don't I just go to bed and die? I was like, And she's putting all this up. And by the way, the interesting part is today is their 6th year anniversary. And I'm like, yeah. But she's like, yeah, she's interesting though. She puts this all out publicly. And
Yeah. No, I mean, I try when I try to write a song, usually, unless it's like Tiniest of Hearts, where I wrote that about my daughter, but that could be about anybody's daughter.
Yes.
So I mean, like I do try. I hope that I leave it pretty vague, because one thing I've learned too, like listening back, as you said, that album that I did when I was really in the 90s, listening to it now, sometimes I cringe because I was such a young, like emoting about everything and like really dramatic, and now as I'm older I'm like, oh God, it's like, but those are some of the best songs when you're young and you're really, really honest, right?
Yeah.
Now sometimes I'm a little bit conservative, thinking, oh, I can't say that because my kids are teenagers and like my daughter listens to everything, and I don't want to. I don't know. It'll change. I shouldn't censor myself, but
yeah.
Guess we all do a little bit.
Somehow, yeah. And then another one that I want, which was interesting for me when I was listening to it, Expert Story.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Yeah, so we have moved a lot. And a lot of, actually this whole album, there's a lot of songs about moving and being new and constantly being a foreigner. Like our kids have grown up, not a foreigner within our own family, but everywhere we go, we are estrangeiro. We are foreigners. We are trying to fit in as quietly as we can and not seamlessly as we can. And I think that gives you a certain type of personality because you quickly see what you need to do and what you need to know, and you try to get in as quick as you can. And Expat Story talks about, we move around, we build up 4 walls, we build up new walls, which could mean 2 different things, on which we hang old memories, pictures of where we've been. Everything's always where we've been. We scream, we shout, we do that all inside the house. And then you try to just go out and hang your laundry and pretend everything's normal. You're normal. You live here. And the other thing about that song is the crucial part that my husband and my kids play in my life, because we are a lot tighter because we've had to move so many times and we only have each other a lot of times. And it takes a lot of time for us to meet people and truly trust people and make friends. So how do you deal with that? Because you and your husband can handle this because you were born in Germany, you're Canadian, you're from a military family, so that's guaranteed. But now let's say the children, how do you then in terms of, I guess, how do they take it? How when you're raising them and then you're trying to still show them the world, but then still know you can't be too attached because we might move the next year or probably the next 3 years and then start all over again. Well, so we've made a promise to ourselves and to the kids. So our daughter's 15 and our son's 13 that we're not moving now until they finish school. So, and on the face of it, you would assume that everybody's like, yay, we're not moving. But I've recently had a really kind of wonderful conversation with my daughter one night. And she said to me, she's like, sometimes when things aren't going great with a friend group or any situation, she finds comfort in the fact that, don't worry, we're going to move soon. We'll leave. And to know that we're not leaving is a new experience. And she has a restlessness already because we've been here in July. It will be 2 years. She already has a restlessness. And she said that she has it. And I was like, oh, you've got the gene. You've got the move gene. Yeah. Like I end up moving all the furniture, or we just got another dog, like I end up doing things like that because I start to feel like, oh, it's time to go now. And And that's something I mean, it's all they know. So they deal with it really well. But there's some, we have to be careful and try to let them create really good friendships here. And we try to get the kids all to our house as much as we can. And so we do our best.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's a tough thing though, but yeah, when it's the only thing you have to do, you have to find a way to adjust to that, right?
Yeah. And I think for the one thing that's different that was different from how I grew up, everywhere I moved, I was on a military base surrounded by kids that were exactly like me.
Like you, yeah.
And if we got posted earlier than some friends, they would have inevitably show up at the school that I was at in the next place. And we'd have a year together before we were posted again. And then we'll say, okay, well, we'll see you at the next posting. We were always around the same people. And the military in every country provides always, military services, military events, military this, military that. So you're always around kids. And we were on a base that was just full of people where all the dads went away and the mums were all there and all the kids were there. And so it was super normal to me. I mean, we got bussed we got bussed in to the local school, and we were the army brats, and then locals didn't like us because we were the military kids, and then so it was always very normal.
Yeah. So the album has about 10 songs, but what's interesting is the last 2 songs, right?
Yes.
So smoking cigarettes and then flirting with sobriety.
Yes. Okay, so that's the last. So there's one track after that called Honesty.
Yeah.
So smoking cigarettes. So it sounds in some ways a lot deeper than it really is. I started to write this song on the day that Chris Cornell committed suicide, and it came out on the news. I was living in Brazil. I'm a huge Soundgarden fan. I was a massive Chris Cornell fan. And I'd been following him because as an older single guy, he was doing all these acoustic tour gigs that were so good.
Yeah.
And so I'd just been following him and found out that he'd committed suicide. And it just devastated me. And I talk a lot about, there's a couple of songs in here that deal with suicide. Over the years, I've known of and lost quite a few people. And it just the idea that when I found that out, even though I don't know him, I was like, it's colder here without you. My favorite sweater won't keep me warm. Just the idea that somebody's gone. And then the strange way my brain works, that's basically it about Chris Cornell. Then I was thinking about my longest girlfriend that I've been friends with since I grew up, since grade 11. So that's the longest time, 11 and 12, we stayed at one school, whom I'm still good friends with, but we're far away. And we used to, I had my driver's license, but she didn't. So her mom would let me take her van. We'd sleep over at her place and take her mom's van. And the HOV lane in Canada is a van for heavy vehicles or more than 4 people. So we'd drive downtown. We were smoking. We were listening to Soundgarden. We were listening to Nirvana on the radio. So that was to show the era of what it was. So that ties back to the Chris Cornell. And it's just about missing people. So it's not specifically about really any one topic, but the main thing for me is back in the days when we were smoking cigarettes, talking crap, and like dreaming big. We were just, and that's what we were doing. We had no cares in the world, and so I'm like, take me back to that time when I didn't have to worry about such grown-up things.
Yeah.
And plus, when you're older, you can't smoke because it's going to cause cancer. When you're young, you don't realize or care about it. So that's just the carefree attitude, right?
Yeah. And flirting with sobriety, how about that?
Okay, so flirting with sobriety. I am a very, very, very. I worry about everything. I'm very friendly and nice. But I have an incredible gene. I have a guilt gene. I feel guilty about everything. I worry about things. I grew up in a family so my stepfather raised me from the time I was 3. And my real father my parents were really young, but at the time my mom and dad split when I was 3 years old. And he was quite a heavy party animal at the time. But also he was very, very young. And he passed away in 2006. But so I grew up with my mom always telling me that you and your brother have to be careful because there's alcoholism in the family. You've got to be careful. You got to be careful. So my whole life I've always struggled with like, am I doing this too much? Do I drink too much? Is there a side of me? Because I'm also very, I like to be really in control of things. Like you can see, for example, if I have to do something at 10 o'clock, I'm up at 8, making sure that it's going to go all right. And so even with the carefree attitude of having drinks and stuff, I always go to bed and go like, how many did I have? Did I say anything stupid? Did I this? Did I do that? Did I do this? And as I get older, I struggle way less with a worry about drinking because I don't even have time to do it very much.
Yeah.
But the song was written sort of as a love song, saying that to myself or to my husband. It could be anybody could relate to it. It doesn't have to be from me, but just like in a relationship, if something ever came up and it was a problem, because we share this love together, and you do this for me and I do this for you, I'll stop doing whatever. So it was an idea that if there was ever a problem, I think I was saying it to myself that we'll sort it out, because I never want to, do anything too much, and I always worry about that. So, and that's just me growing up, and like my husband's British, and so also my mother's a psychologist. So and I'm a Canadian, so we're kind of like hippie psychologists. We come from musicians, actors, teachers, psychologists, nurse, psychiatric nurse. That's my family. My husband's British, and he just thinks I'm crazy because he's like, oh my God, you had 3 beers. Like, what is your problem? Like, what are you worried about? So it's a completely different attitude, right? So we're the yin and yang. And that song all just came out, and another thing too about that song is, and I was going back to, after I had my babies in the first couple of times, because one of my strong points the whole time I was playing music in bars is that I have a very good comeback for anything, and I can handle any heckler, and I can handle any guy drinking beer saying whatever. I can handle it. But after I had kids, my comeback is way too slow. Like I'm too soft to try and be tough. And so that's what I was also saying in that song. And when people, the jovial drinks and people tell stories about, oh yeah, remember when you did this? Remember when you said that? At this stage of my life, I was saying to myself, I don't want to hear anything that's like old and tired, and I don't want to be tough. I'm not tough. So that was what that song's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. So the entire album, guys, Shadows and Lines, go check that out, coming from Camille Miller. And that's available where you get music. So you are going to perform for us a song or two of the album.
Yeah, well, I'll perform one off the album, and then I was thinking of performing another one maybe, but now I'm nervous. But so this song is called Not Ready. And this song again is about moving. It's about the feeling of I get every time I know we're going to leave and I have to start again. And it's a happy and excited and sad feeling at the same time. And in Brazilian Portuguese, also Portuguese, they use this, but the Brazilians have a term called saudade. And it's there isn't a word in English, but it's a feeling of missing. It's a feeling of sad, but you don't know what, like, it's a feeling of longing and missing. And that's what this song's about.
On the Extreme BPM, Camille Miller performing Not Ready.
Okay, hopefully.
Off the album.
Now I'm nervous. Just a second. I'm not ready to make friends yet. I gotta figure out where went. So I slip back into these tired shoes. I hang on to the memories I don't wanna lose. I'm not ready to say goodbye to the friends I love and the mountain I climbed. We're so close to the top I could almost see the angel of mercy staring back at me. And I don't wanna pack my bags. I don't wanna say goodbye. I don't wanna say those words I say so we don't cry. It's a lie. When I'm ready to make friends, love, I'm running over to your house and we're gonna get drunk, and we'll share our secrets till the lights grow dim. And our laughter and tears, they make us whole again. And I don't wanna pack my bags. I don't wanna say goodbye. I don't wanna say those words I say so we don't cry. Don't cry, 'cause I'm not ready to make friends yet. I'm not ready to make friends yet. I'm not ready to make friends. I'm not ready.
So here's the audience. Yeah. And that is Not Ready. All right. That is
Not Ready,
off the album.
yes.
Yeah. That is Shadows and Lines.
So I'm going to play, this is called She Knows. And it's a very old song, but it's my daughter's favorite.
Oh,
And it's written from the perspective of a young love, a girl fancying a guy. But there's another girl that fancies the guy probably even more than girl one fancies. And she knows everything about him. And she's, you know, she's in the way. She's a problem. So that's what the... She knows how you're feeling. She knows how to fight. She knows she can call you in the middle of the night. She knows your whole life story. Reads you like a book. Knows how every drop does before she has to look and be inside. I don't wanna fight, so turn off the lights and be mine tonight. She knows everything about you.
I remember this from streaming the music though. Yeah. Oh yeah. This when was this put out?
2002.
Oof. I remember because I when you started singing the chorus, I remember that I know this.
Yeah,
I know this.
2002 that album was out. And that something inside me is only you believe in me.
Yep. Definitely keeping it.
Fun.
Oh,
That was fun.
yeah, it's such a fun song. Yeah, it's a good one. So that's if you're listening in right now on the Extreme BPM E-Jazz Radio and E-Jazz Extra, that's a song of the album Shadows and Lines, coming in from Camille Miller. Let's hear Camille Miller.
And Mark, we're soon gonna have vinyl.
Vinyl.
So I have a friend that I've known since my very first tour in the UK, which was like in 2003. He was a young boy, well, younger, and his father ran the record label Sugar Shack Records that I was on. And one day the boy drew a picture of me. Years later, I still have the picture. He still works for his father in a record company, but he's obviously a grown man. But he does all the designs and for my T-shirts, for albums.
Oh, amazing.
He does. His name is Nicholas Darby, and he does all of these. So he's going to do another one for Shadows and Lines, and he creates these designs. He does all the artwork inside. So I'm excited that over the time, again, I still get to work with him. So I'm looking forward to that for Shadows and Lines.
Which is amazing. The album is over there, Shadows and Lines, coming from Camille Miller. And where would people find you if they want to connect with you?
If they want to connect with me, I am literally everywhere. Okay, I'm even on the TikTok. So I'm on MySpace still. I have an account on it, but I'm on Bandcamp, Camille Miller Music. They can buy everything on Bandcamp if they like. I'm on Instagram, Camille Miller. I'm on iTunes, Camille Miller. I'm on Spotify, Camille Miller. Amazon Music, everywhere. It's everywhere. They can find me. Yeah. I'm easy to find.
Absolutely. So go check out the album, stream that, and stream also the whole catalog is over there on streaming platforms.
Yes,
which
it's
is
all
a good
there.
thing. Yes,
the whole catalog. I think we've got, I think it's like 8 releases or 7 releases and some EPs and a couple singles. So I'm getting up
amazing. Yeah, so absolutely, it's always a pleasure. It goes without saying, it's always a pleasure having you on the show, and we always have a good time. So this was no exception. Definitely had a good time.
I have to say at the end, though, honestly, Mark, the support you give to the indie artists is, without it, we would be so lonely out here. So I really appreciate it. Super heartfelt. I would love to come to Uganda and hang out. I would totally, because I haven't been there yet. But I really appreciate this. And for years you've been playing. And I can tell when the songs are being streamed and where they're being streamed. And E-Jazz Radio, you are nailing it. And I really appreciate it a lot.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure when we'll have to see stories that progress, right from even with artists that probably are starting, and then you see them get to a different stage. I had someone who had her debut EP on actually the person I did interview yesterday has her debut album coming out on the 11th, and I was right there when she started even putting out her first project on the EP. and she was doing jazz mostly, and now she's into electro swing and all that, and she's doing her first debut album, that and it's good. It's like, it's like a happy moment to see that, like you receive the whole project and listen to it, and you're like, this is, it's good to see like how the progression has been from, starting up with a small EP, and here you are with a debut album completely done.
Oh, it's super nice. Yeah, well, it's being an artist, it's such a huge community. There's so many people involved. It's not just the music, it's the people that play the music, it's the support. And I think for musicians, we are inspired to keep going because we have stations like you. There's Radio Wigwam in the UK who are just doing an amazing job. Yeah. In where I'm from, CHLY, Radio CHLY in Nanaimo, Canada. I mean, without these stations, we get excited. We get like, oh man, we're going to play, like to do this interview 2 days before. I'm like, I gotta get organized.
We do appreciate. I do appreciate it though. So it's always amazing to see and how much the community grows around that, and people support each other and get to work with each other. It's just like how you ended up working with
Major Camille.
Major Camille, yes, doing the project.
Okay, let's throw some Major Camille back up here.
Yeah, Major Camille. Get that also.
They can find that, and Dennis Expert is the guru for Major Camille. He will answer all questions. He's the fearless leader. So please have a little stream of this. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah. And thank you so much for joining us today. Guys, the Extreme BPM, until next time, absolutely nothing left for you.